So I let AI take over my Twitter account for the past 4 weeks to prove to myself and every one of my clients that it is 100% possible to build a strong and profitable social media brand with nothing but AI and less than 1 hour a day of work. And in this video, I'm going to share with you my journey and everything I learned on the way, the results and everything else you can see in the end. But let's start from the beginning. So to everyone who doesn't know me, which should be the majority of you, I am Tim Westerman and I've consulted and built more than 20 chatbots for various businesses in the past few years to handle customer service and everything else in their business intelligently and on autopilot, which saves them on average 98 hours a month. So now that we got to know each other, let's start. So in advance to this whole event, I spoke to multiple people, and all of them told me that the most relevant thing for the business right now is to build a strong and profitable social media brand, especially with the rise of school. And I told all of them that it is 100% possible to build this strong social media brand with less than 1 hour a day of work and nothing but AI, without knowing anything about either of those things. But of course, no one believed me, because I haven't done it and no one else really has. So I set myself the goal to prove to myself and every one of those people I spoke with how possible it is to build this social media brand with AI and make money with it. And I set myself a deadline to 4 weeks to achieve this. But first, I had to pick a platform. And for this, I chose X, or Twitter. And why did I do that? Well, because you see, on every other platform, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever else, I already had an account and I was already actively posting. But I wasn't on Twitter. I didn't have a Twitter account. So I created the account and sat down to build my strategy for how I would go about building my brand in the next 4 weeks on Twitter. So I knew I had to do some research. First, I scrolled through my timeline and tried to find every single piece of information that I could find out about Twitter, its algorithm, the people that are big, the people that are small, and the people that grew their brands fast. I got myself into every conference, every giveaway, and wrote a message to every single one of those people to speak with them directly. And as I was in the AI niche, I hit up everyone that was in the AI niche or in my targeted niche, which would be business owners, and I tried to schedule calls with every single one of these. So now I had a bunch of calls and I did all of them. I asked questions, I got feedback, I was networking, finding out things. And as soon as I felt like I knew enough about Twitter, its people, and its algorithm, I was ready to create my strategy with AI. What did I learn in these few calls? I learned that Twitter doesn't do any difference in language. So whether you post in German or English or whatever other language, Twitter doesn't put different languages to different people in different countries. So the algorithm doesn't work that way. It makes no difference in language. The best thing you can do is just post in English. Furthermore, I found out that Twitter is all about personal branding. Not really branding for a product, but personal branding for your own persona. And there seem to be 3 types of posts. Value-based posts, where you just give your audience value. Authority posts, which are just telling them what you've done and how you have authority to tell them what to do. And personality posts, which is just talking about yourself and your problems, whatever, making you more human. So these were the 3 posts I would stick to. And I set for myself that I would post one of these posts every day. So one in the morning, which was my personality post, one in the afternoon, which was my value post, and one in the evening, which was my authority post. But I wasn't done yet. I still had to define my targeted audience, which wasn't a problem for me. So I'm a business owner. I already know my targeted audience. So I just scraped through the documents I have on my client avatar and was good to go. Now that I had everything I needed, I understood the algorithm. I knew what to post and when to post, which was 3 times a day. One of these posts each, value, personality, authority. I knew who to create them for, so the only thing left was I just had to create these posts. Now, how did I do that? Well, this is the first time I actually got in contact with AI. I tried different ones. The best thing you can do here is just choose an LLM, and there we had Llama, GPT, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, and a few else that I didn't look into. But these 7 ones were the major ones I looked into. So I tried around with every one of these, gave them a few test prompts to see how the posts would perform, and finally I stuck to Claude, Anthropic's AI, which arguably is the best LLM out there at this moment in time. So I knew I would choose Claude. Then I just had to go and start out finding the right prompting. So how to actually write the things I wanted him to do. And this wasn't pretty hard. This was just half an hour of trying different things until finally I had the perfect prompts. By the way, all of these templates and everything else you'll find below in the video description. So I went to Claude, I prompted him, I gave him all the information he needed and told him to create the posts. And here I did my first mistake, because I told Claude to create 21 posts of each of the categories. 21 for value, 21 for personality, and 21 for authority. Because I thought I would create all of these posts at once, schedule them in, and then never worry about it again. So I have still 1 hour a day left to work on my brand. And what I did in that hour we will come to later in the video, which is pretty important, by the way. But the mistake I did was creating everything at once. The proper way to go about this would be to just create it for the first week, see how the posts in the first week perform, adjust the prompts accordingly, and then do it for the next week and for the next and for the next. So learning and teaching the AI what works and what doesn't. But I didn't do so. Probably cost me a lot of growth. So if you're going to do this 1 week at a time. But anyway, I had my posts, I was happy, I just had to schedule them in. Which I did. This was work of a few hours, because actually scheduling in Twitter posts is pretty annoying. You can make it more easily if you do it with a scheduling AI like Hype Fury, which I recommend. Not sponsored in any way, just a fan of the software. But another goal of mine was to do all this without spending a single penny. And as Hype Fury has a subscription model, I couldn't use it. So I scheduled all of them in manually and proceeded with my strategy, which was, and here is where the 1 hour a day I set myself as a working limit on this comes to play. Because you see, the Twitter algorithm works in the following. Twitter loves when people spend time on their platform, like every other platform. And so the more you get people to spend time on the platform, meaning the more time they spend on your posts or on your comments or interacting with you, the more Twitter likes you, which means it will boost you more. So the 1 hour a day simply goes into commenting on other people's posts. But here again, you have to develop a strategy. You can't just comment a W or spam agreed under every post. This is not how this works. No one will interact with you. You actually have to do 2 types of comments. The first thing you can do is just adding value in any way. Adding value to the post. This can be giving more information, giving different information, whatever else, just adding more value to the post. Or the second type of post you can do, be controversial. Say something against it. Prove him wrong. And again, don't insult anybody, just state a different opinion and go completely against it. So you either add value or you're controversial. And the key here really is to balance a way between both of those. When you're controversial all the time, you will just have haters. When you're giving value all the time, no one knows how to really identify with yourself because they don't know your true opinions. So you have to find an in-between. I recommend 30 to 40% controversial and 60 to 70% value, depending on your niche and the people you interact with. So this was the strategy for commenting. And here again, I did one little other mistake, because an important part about Twitter is the connections, the network. So not only do you have to comment, but actually DM people to get into just networking calls with them. Don't sell them anything, but just to network, exchange information, just talking to people. And I did that less and less. So the proper way would have just been to comment most of the time, but then for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, or even just 10 minutes a day, hit people up with DMs to talk to them. And these can be either people targeting the same audience as you, or people in your audience, but just connecting. So I had all my posts scheduled, I was commenting every day, and I was sending a few DMs here and there, and so I had a few calls each and every day. I was set, and it worked out better than I could have ever imagined. I started with 0 at the complete beginning, day 1. And 7 days later, I was at 91 followers. And I already had my first inbound lead. I didn't sell them yet, but I had my first inbound lead. So I really took off in this first week. And at this point, I realized that A, I was doing something right, but B, I could get something more out of my posts if I were to just fit them to what I now knew was working for me. So again, I went into Claude for a second round and told him to, with the new information I had, create new posts. I deleted the old ones and I put in the new ones. And this was my strategy from there on out. See what was working and then put in the new posts like I should have done from the beginning. And after this 1 week was passed, it actually started to get fun because I was having connections. I was meeting the same people in the DMs and in the comments over and over again. I was commenting under their posts, they were commenting under mine. I was actually taking calls. Every day I would wake up and had 10 followers more. It was actually quite fun during this time. And even after my third week or so, I actually got invited to an interview. I was on my first podcast ever getting interviewed by a really awesome guy called Ryan Lee. Shout out if you were to see this. The interview is on his channel, by the way, so you can look at it. I will put it in the video description as well. And this was so much fun. So I actually was in the peak of my brand building. But towards the end, I noticed myself getting more complacent. The growth came in and I was doing less and less commenting work. Sometimes I would even just do 20 minutes of commenting a day. In the first few days, you see, I was actually commenting 100 times every day under different posts. And then as I gained more leverage over time, I was able to get the same amount of outcome with less input. But I don't know how I was this stupid. Instead of commenting more because I had more leverage, I was commenting less, putting it aside, working on different things, having my priorities somewhere else. Now, whether this was smart or not is a different discussion. But alone for the Twitter world, it would have been better if I had done more commenting. And then after some time, I did something which really boosts my growth. And I'm talking about 50 new followers in just one day. How did I do that? Well, everyone likes free stuff. And so a really big thing on Twitter is to just do giveaways. So something for free, giving it out for free in exchange for followers. And I did this and I mastered it. The offer was, I would give you all of my strategies, my entire growth strategy that got me to 100 followers in my first week, with every prompt, with everything I knew about this new Twitter growth. I created a Google Doc, gave it a cool name, and sent it out there on its way. Now, I could have done this giveaway better. The proper way to have done it would announce it 3 weeks before, then announce it 1 week before, announce it 48 hours before, announce it 1 hour before, finally release the thing, and then make a retweet on it 3 hours later and quote it in under 48 hours later saying how good this giveaway went. But I didn't do all that, I just posted the giveaway straight out, and either way it went through the roof. 50 followers in one day, it was unimaginable. The feedback I got to this dog was amazing. I couldn't have it imagined in any better way. The giveaway as well, by the way, is in the description. But in these 4 weeks, this still wasn't the highlight. You remember how I told you about the inbound lead I had on day 3 under my 4th posts? Well, I scheduled a call with him, we set us together, and after 40 minutes to an hour, I was able to close him on my offer. And then we had a few calls, and I actually got him an extreme amount of more followers too. And 5 days later, which weren't really interesting, the 4 weeks were completed. So here's the summary of my challenge. What did I actually accomplish? In numbers, I had 220 followers, 1 new client, 16 new connections with really helpful, really awesome people. I've been on 1 podcast and I had an awesome time. But, and the most important thing, I proved to myself and everyone else that it is in fact possible to just, with 1 hour a day of work, build this awesome social media brand and actually make it profitable. And I took so many more learnings from that, which are just more on a personal side, but as well on a business side. But that would be too much for this video. I've given you the most relevant information, and if you want to see me really going in depth on how I did that and what I actually learned, you can go to Ryan's podcast, which is linked below. We discussed everything else there. And so this was the journey. I did what I said I was going to do. It worked out extremely well, better than I could have imagined, so I'm finally happy. And I hope you know how to do this too as well now. Everything you need to do it is linked down below, every information, every template, everything down below for completely free. But one last thing before I forget it. I would like to gift each and every one of you an automated AI handbook in form of a chatbot of your business for your clients. So you don't have to do any customer service, you don't have to any employee questions, because all of this can just go to the chatbot and it will answer it for them completely on autopilot. This has worked extremely well, not only for myself, but as well for my clients. And I've developed a strategy with this bot that actually helps to automate customer service for software businesses in particular. So if you identify with that and you would like to do something for your customer service, then feel free to opt in below to schedule a call with me. I will build you your free chatbot in advance to this call, gift it to you on the call, and explain everything else there. Nothing charged, no pressure, just a free chatbot for you, just to give you a little thank you. And so this was it. This was the 4-week challenge, and this was it with the video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you was able to take something with you. By the way, I could have done this much bigger, much more profitable if I had actually followed all the steps in this video and actually have been commenting and DMing people to the very end. I think I could have got to 600 to 500 followers if I had done everything according to this video. But obviously I wasn't able to watch this video back then. But you are, so I wish you nothing but success on your journey. So let's see you in the next video. You can watch this video here right now. Goodbye.